Shalom aleichem gishchanam Juliana and Juliana Taimoorazy وعلى برسخزبت أطورايب تيفل HBTV أها زول خزبة بتاعي قاتوخو من Crystal Palace Banquet أيدي لجمع Prospect Illinois وديو خورز درابان قايش قيل لشوبا جدها دكتا Faith Under Fire Conference قد بيشتغل مريستا بيد Center for Security Policy إلى خاصية جو واشنطن دي سي ميت له زمان بريشة من دي ملت ديان أطوريتا من قبطاي جو مصر وبزي members of the House Congressman Walsh و Congressman راسكم دابي لخا أو دي بريشة and Human Rights Activists إنا لخا وبغزايخ خكمة هدامت ملت ديان زي لخا نرى بغزايخ قاتل لخا إنا تكلت زودة برسوبة عبيبتي قد خزيفة مخزيفة كليتا رابا خلنتا قد أمريكاية قد بيخال خم قديان إينا إتلان لغات رابا مهنيان وسودان قاتوخون رابا أنقايا خرزل قد أديب دات قاتوخون بوشون أمان قامت قد غدا ساعت وهمون قد شغليتون يترانم ده خرزة أبيتون باسيمي
For advertising on HBTV, call 773-406-5366 or 773-733-9536. The HBTV crew will produce, shoot, and edit your commercials.
December 2010, we have the names of the people that plotted this terrorist attacks upon orders of Habib al-Adri, which is the Ministry of Interior under Mubarak. Mubarak's regime plotted the most of the major terrorist attacks against Copts for the past 30 years, and we have the documents with the names, with videos, with pictures, yet he is the ally of the West. The hatred against Copt is also 14 centuries old. It's not something new. Umar ibn al-Khattab, which he died in 644 AD, had something called the Omarian Treaty, which was a legislation of 24 fascist laws that should be applied on the Christians of the countries they invade. Some of these laws were so fascist that they went as far as Copts or Christians, Assyrian Christians, and basically all the non-Muslims of the region should even shave their heads differently, should wear different clothes, so that Muslims would be able to harass them in the street, as it literally says. They're not allowed to build churches, and if their churches are destroyed, they're not allowed to fix them, and so much more. 24 of these fascist laws, I will not go through all of them. But this also goes back to Sadat. When we look at, and also Mubarak, when we look at the terrorist Omar Abdurrahman, which is currently serving life sentence in a federal correction prison here in America for 1993 bombings. Omar Abdurrahman also got his PhD from the moderate Azhar University, and I read his PhD thesis, and it was titled The Position of Quran from Its Adversaries. The first chapter is called, because I found this very interesting, The Position of Quran from Its Adversaries, Death or Islam. That's the option. You either get killed or you die. Even the jizya ransom tax was abolished, and he got his PhD with honors from the state-controlled university.
From Egypt to Italy back when I was 16 years old, with $30 of my pocket and one-way ticket to Italy. Because I felt that Egypt is not my country. And I realized when I reached Italy that the Italian people open their arms and respect me. For all my life, a student or worker in Italy, nobody asked me what is my religion. The only time that I was asked about my religion when I was preparing for my marriage. And I remember the Catholic priest accepted me because he said that our church is more strict than the Catholic Church. For over 20 years living in Italy, I used to feel that I am a citizen of this country with my strange name. And I am proud to be a citizen of Italy, a very civil country. Moved in the United States, I realized that there is difference between Italy and this great country. Italy is 90% of the Italian people is Italian. It's all Catholic. Here you find people coming from Africa, people coming from Europe, people coming from Middle East. People who speak Italian, English, Portuguese, Japanese, all the language here. But it's very interesting that nobody, when I came here back in 1992, asked me what is my religion was. Nobody cared about my religion. Everybody cared about me, what I am doing. Very interesting. Last October, I was speaking in Virginia, in Anglican church. After I finished, one of the people stood up and asked me, well, they building a mosque next door to me. And the imam come to me and say, don't worry, they are peaceful people. And what do you think? So I told him, yes, they are peaceful people until the imam doesn't teach them what they're supposed to be doing. You know. And I told him, when I bought my house, I never go to my neighbor, told him that I am a peaceful person. I don't need to tell him this. Anyway, September 11 arrived, and until that time, to be very honest with you, I never cared about Copts, about Egypt. I was living my professional as an architect without paying any attention. I cut everything with the Egyptian. Talking all my friends in America was Italian, so I don't really have any problem. September 11 occurred, and I was in Long Island. I supposed to be there that day. We were working for Port Authority. And was big change in my life. And I believe that was big change in a lot of American and in the world. I could call September 11 as the cornerstone for our new life. We are in 2012 AD. I could say that we are in 12 after September 11. This will be really a mark in the future for us and for generation to come. Because finally, the world start to understand what is Islam about. It's very funny that when each one of us think for a second that the religion, faith, it is a personal issue between the individual and whatever he believes. It's nothing that you come to force me to believe in something that you believe in. It was very interesting personal experience when I tried to join back my Orthodox church. My Orthodox priest called me and tell, what do you think? Is your wife going to join, to change her Catholic to Orthodox? I look at him, I said, wow, are we became a Muslim here? She has to convert it to Orthodox? If you don't want me in this church, I stay in my Catholic church. Very simple. My wife has the right to believe and practice whatever she believes. She doesn't have to follow me because I want to go back to my church. In America, as well as in the Western countries, there are various people immigrate from Middle East. My big question is this, is all of them, when they come to this country, they are looking to change their life and live a new life and accept the law and regulation? Or there is something in their back mind that they're planning to do? When I came to the United States, I came as Italian, not as Egyptian, but I tried to melt and became a part of this society. The only thing that I was not able to succeed is my broken English or my accent, but I can help it, you know. But I mean, I have a lot of American friends, and I try to act that. So anyway, when I came here, I realized that there is various people that they come to United States with various interests. And being involved in Coptic issue, I start to realize that there is also false information given to American people. One of them, after September 11, when former President Bush stood up and said, Islam is a religion of peace. I don't know where he got this information from.
رجعني وميغورتا إيزابيل إشتر قد خرطبتتيا قد مقربخ ل تشقيت ديان قملت أمريكيتا وين خزداجن طاينة غديان أما أمريكايا. I believe we're waiting for the presentation to load up. Until that loads up, brief background about myself. As Fred told you, I was smuggled out of Iran due to religious persecution. I was 16 years old when I was smuggled into Switzerland and then into Germany illegally. And that's where we declared religious asylum and became refugees and came to the US in 1990. I founded Iraqi Christian Relief Council because in 2006 I was watching the news and I saw 2 churches being bombed at the same time in Iraq, in Baghdad. And I saw my own people, my Assyrian people, running in disarray, drenched in blood, and I said, and the whole report was maybe 20 seconds. And I'm an Assyrian Catholic, and when I used to live in Chicago, I used to attend Holy Name Cathedral, so I literally ran into Cardinal Francis George, if you can run into a cardinal, and I said, what is the Catholic Church doing about the Christians in Iraq? The next week, believe it or not, they called me in. They had a meeting and they encouraged me to start this organization because not many Americans know there are Assyrians in Iraq, let alone that they're being killed. And when I say Assyrians, that includes Chaldeans and Syriacs. We're all one people. Next slide, two slides over, please. Briefly about our mission. Iraqi Christian Relief Council raises awareness amongst Americans by joining forces with such entities as CSP, and we go to parishes, churches, synagogues. So if there are those who want us to come in and talk about this to your parishes, please invite us. We will be there. Next slide, please. And we raise awareness. We need Americans to be educated about what is happening in the Middle East to Christians. And we raise funds and we send them for food, shelter, medicine to those who are in Iraq and those who are here in the United States. Next, please. So how many of you, well, there are a lot of Assyrians here, but how many Americans know or knew prior to this conference who Assyrians are? Okay. This presentation, a portion of it is specifically meant to educate those who do not know who Assyrians are. The term Assyrian is derived from Ashur, our ancient Assyrian god. Our history is vast, 6,762 years. We are not Arabs, we're not Jews, we're not Kurds. And the reason I put that there is because every time I say to an American, I'm an Assyrian, they say, oh, so you're Assyrian. And I'm an Assyrian born in Iran. Oh, you're an Arab. How are you born in a Persian country? And that's offensive to us. Assyrianism is a nationality. It's an ethnicity. We are the first people who accepted Christ as a nation, and we still speak Aramaic. This was our empire. It started from the eastern part of Iran, southern Turkey, Iraq, Syria, going to a portion of Egypt. Abraham was born in Ur, and many of us know about Jonah. Jonah went to Nineveh to preach, to give the word of God and ask them to repent. And Ninevites prayed and fasted 40 days and 40 nights. And Jonah is buried in today's Mosul. Nineveh is today's Mosul. Mesopotamians contributed greatly to civilization. These are some of the contributions. King Hammurabi wrote the first code of law, first mathematics, herbal medicine. Akkad, Babylonians, and Assyrians discovered the first herbal medicine, and there's a fantastic book on that, actually. First writing system in cuneiform, and also the first systematic library was formed by Ashurbanipal. This is our alphabet. We have 22 letters in our alphabet. We write right to left. This is our flag. The waves represent 3 rivers, Tigris, Euphrates, and Zab. The circle in the center is the sun of Assyria, S-U-N, that is shining to 4 corners of the world. And the top is an image of Ashur, if you will, the god of Assyria. Next, please. Assyrian Empire fell to Babylonians in 612 before Christ, and the Babylonian Empire fell in 539 to Persians. And since then, we've been living at the mercy of our overlords in the region. Something very interesting that not many know. This is an image called Icon Made Without Hands. A lot of people know that we have converted to Christianity through St. Thomas. But not many know that the king of Edessa, which is Urfa today in Turkey, wrote a letter to Jesus before crucifixion. And he asked him for Jesus to come and heal his disease. And the letter reads that Jesus sent the letter back, declining to go to Edessa, but said, I will send you one of my disciples after my mission is completed in this country. And he took a cloth and he placed it on his face, and he sent the image back to King Abgar. That's his name. And I asked from our bishop, where is this picture, where is this image? And they said it was looted during the crusade times. So it's been missing. Next, please. Assyrians are devout Christians, and they believed in the word of God. So they became missionaries. They took the word of God to India, China, Philippines, and as far as Japan. But this evangelization came to an abrupt end when Taimur Lane, or Taimur the Lame, which is a Persian term, came in and attacked the people in the region, and that suddenly stopped the evangelization. One more? Thanks. So let us focus on the persecution that we've been through. Go ahead, please. A lot of people believe that this is the first time Assyrians have faced persecution. Since the rise of Islam, it is documented that every 45 years, Christians have been killed in the hands of Islamist extremists. From mid 1800s to early 2000, every generation has been affected. My great-grandfather died in a camp in Urmia. His wife was kidnapped by Kurds along with two of her daughters. My parents fled, whoever was remaining among my family members fled to Russia to take refuge. They were persecuted in the hands of Stalin, fled back to Iran, and then I faced persecution. So as you see, if we have approximately 4 million Assyrians throughout the world, every member of our community has a story to tell. Every one of us is affected by these atrocities. World War I, how many of you know of Greek and Armenian genocide? How many of you are aware that Assyrians have been killed alongside of Armenians? Not many talk about the Assyrian genocide. 75% of our nation was killed during World War I. Move on to the next one, please. This slide shows that the Kurdish women were burning Assyrian women's bodies because they thought the Assyrian women had swallowed gold. This is our archbishop that was gunned down by the Kurd. These atrocities were committed by the Turks and the Kurds during World War I. Next, please. Another big massacre, and a very important one, is Samel. Samel was and is a large village in the northern part of Iraq. As you know, Iraq became a state, an independent state, in 1932. 1933 brought with it massacre, bloodshed on our people, organized by the Iraqi government. As witnesses say, men were dressed in blue suits. Those were Iraqi military. Along with Kurds, they recruited Kurds to kill, and they would pay a pound, an English pound, to every person who came and brought an Assyrian head with it. I have 2 pieces of stone from Samel. Every time I hold these stones in my hands, I feel the cries of those young girls that were burnt by the Bibles that were used as fuel. This is a documented fact. Just as priests are being mutilated today, they were mutilated then. Children were flung in the air and they were bayoneted. Women, pregnant women, their abdomens were ripped. Women were forced into slavery. They were forced into walking naked, being paraded in front of Iraqi army. Every time I touch these stones, that's what I think of. I think of the pain my people have gone through. Fast forwarding to the recent genocide. There has been a systematic ethno-religious cleansing underway since 2003 in our ancestral homeland, Iraq. It all began with bombing of the churches. To date, our churches have been bombed over 80 times. About 50 churches, 49 churches, 80 times. Many monasteries, the crosses have been taken down and they have been turned into mosques. There were letters sent to Christian homes beginning in 2003, 2004, giving them 3 options. Either pay jizya, which is a form of tax that non-Muslims pay to Muslims during war for protection, pay or convert to Islam, or leave. And when people did not take that seriously, then they started assaulting family members. They would knock on the door at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., either forcing them to leave with whatever clothing they had on their back, or they would murder them. Priests started receiving, go ahead, next slide, please. Priests started receiving bloody bullets, and that was the mark of death for them. Next, please. The next priest that you see here is Father Raghid. He had just returned from Rome to Mosul. And he wrote a letter to his friends in Rome and said, I will be a martyr. Situation is very bad, but I refuse to leave. 7 o'clock, 3 of his deacons and he had finished Mass. They were returning when their car was stopped. Their car was riddled with bullets. Their car was booby-trapped, so police would not be able to retrieve their bodies. Next. That's Archbishop Faradrahu. Father Ragid, whom you just saw, was his secretary. Archbishop Faradrahu, who was Chaldean, a month before he was kidnapped for the second time, went on a radio station in Australia and said, "I am the son of this land. I will not be taken out of this country. I will die. I will not leave my people," because they had asked him to leave the country. He was kidnapped the first time. The community raised money and they released him. The second time, he made one phone call and he said, "Do not pay the ransom they're asking for. These murderers have made a business of this." He was kidnapped in February. They found his body on March 13th, 2008, on the side of the road without any injuries. They had poisoned him through his nostrils. Next, please. These are graphic images. I want to warn you. These two children were home alone. They killed Ranit first and Rafid second. The family had asked for protection, but it never came. Next image, you will see their father holding his children's pictures, just because they're Christian. This is a heartbreaking story. These two of these women used to work for an American base in Baghdad. And as you know, Friday is the day of holiday in the Middle East. They were returning home on Thursday afternoon for a wedding. Their mother tells me, I waited, and they never came. The next day, a neighbor's son ran to her and said, "Come claim your daughters in the morgue." What had happened was, in the taxi, they had stopped the taxi, the Islamist murderers. They had spared the driver, so he would be giving the testimony of what they had done to these two girls. They shot one 7 times in her back, one 4 times in her head. We Assyrians mourn our deceased 3 days, 7 days, and 40 days after the burial. On the 40th day of their memorial, their father dies of a heart attack. We all believe that he passed away of a heartbreak. On the day of his funeral, the third daughter was taken and beaten to death. Next slide will show you an actual threat letter that was sent to their youngest daughter, Miriam. And it says, "If you do not leave, your fate will be the same as your sister's." Miriam and her mother are in Skokie today, and they're trying to build their lives.
Azul Restaurant and Lounge, 2639 West Peterson, Chicago, Illinois. خد برانوتا خدتا جان يونن بشترى تختا من طلوشيبة هالخوشيبة من صاد 5 برمشة هالتري قدمتها اتلو خليات مدن خاية وامريكان كوزين وتشتروتا وشبتها اتلو انترتينمنت تشاركي زمارة مدن خاية وآطوراية أخجاني بندليرة وبالي دانسر هذا غزي أزولي دوقة أمو جيجاناتي قد شلتا هارد خدوياته هون قيمون اديوقة أزول Restaurant and Lounge شو طلع اتشا اشتخات 8 خاصي بر 8 أزول. The Center for Advanced Medicine and Surgery is glad to announce their new facility has finally opened in Elgin, located at 1460 West Larkin in Elgin, Illinois. Call today at 773-203-9338. The medical specialties include chiropractor, family medicine, minor surgery, neurosurgery, vein treatment, workers' comp and accidents, fertility center, OB/GYN clinic, orthopedic, and podiatry. The Advanced Diagnostics offers a wide range of tests including bone density, cardiology, CT scans, open MRI and MRA, ultrasounds, and x-rays. Come visit our new office today in Elgin at 1460 West Larkin. We accept most insurances. Visit us online for more information at www.cntradvancedmed.com. The Center for Advanced Medicine and Surgery in Elgin.
The Center for Advanced Medicine and Surgery is a multi-specialty medical facility. Our specialties include general practice, chiropractic care, rehabilitation, podiatry, orthopedics, weight management, advanced diagnostics with x-rays, MRI, CT scan, and PET scan. We also have a surgery center, an urgent care center open 7 days a week. We are proud to announce our newest addition, our infertility center.
Many couples struggle with the ability to conceive and have no knowledge of the reason or solution. Here at the Advanced Institute for Infertility, we help bring awareness and find the solution. We have the most experienced staff available with a state-of-the-art facility that accommodates and assures a positive result in helping make your dream a reality.
ديترويت كباب هاوس اند بيكري بتيخنا دشاوط عطوراية أني تتلو شلتا هارد خلياطة أخ شاورما دجاج شاورما بيف قوزي كريم شابس شتيتا وبيف حمص فلافل بابا غنوش وزلاطة عراقي هر هذا غزد ديترويت كباب هاوس اند بيكري اتلو كامبينيشن تريدزمن طلع هالتسراجاناته ديترويت كباب هاوس ايتن بيكري أني تياويلو صمون عراقي وسبينش بايز ميت بايز ولحم مجين هر هذا غزد يوديني كيرين قد شل اوكيجنز أخ برايدل شاورز birthdays engagement parties قريمون إديو قد ديترويت كباب هاوس أني تيخنا الشاو يمانج الشبتة من 8 الأطرة بليلة وويكندز من 8 الأسرة بليلة قريمون 847-967-9100 ين 847-967-3300
ديترويت كباب هاوس
أسيجان مايكل 8 أربع شوات 3 شوات 8 أجر سيبر إنت لخن مرة شاكر أنا نقيت للشتاء إيد شخصيتون البردة أينوخن وقع خامتة أينوخن سلامة أسيجان مايكل هازاري لإتقابل شل مرانة وعاونت إلى رتنا سبيشالست أسيجان مايكل برقلي البانت أسيوتا جسوبة شيكاغو ويسكونسن إلى بورد سيرتيفايد وتلاربا ماتشو شيكاغو نايلز فيرنن هيلز وودستاك أسيجان مايكل إلى خلمتة من أنصار عطوراية وعاون شي مقرو خلمتة ليزر سيرجري وارهادخ رتنا سيرجري جوافيزو
This next gentleman that I'm about to introduce to you is somebody that I've had the pleasure of serving on panels with, and I very strongly recommend that you get a hold of his book, which we are actually selling in the back of the room here. This is a very important book about exactly what Cynthia and Juliana and Dr. Ramallah were talking about. It's called Silenced: How Apostasy and Blasphemy Codes Are Choking Freedom Worldwide. And Paul Marshall, who is a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute in Washington, D.C., tracks what is happening to religious freedom with his colleague Nita Shea, and is one of the foremost authorities on this subject. He has spoken on religious freedom in international relations and radical Islam in front of congressional committees, the U.S. State Department, the Department of Homeland Security, INS asylum bureaus. He is a regular commentator on programs like the ABC Evening News, CNN, PBS, Fox, and you can find his work published in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post, myriad other publications. He is a reigning authority on this subject, and I hope you will pay very close attention to Paul Marshall. Paul.
As Fred mentioned, I'm going to talk about how accusations of apostasy or blasphemy or insulting Islam or accusations of that kind operate within the Muslim world and how they are now spreading into the Western world. And as mentioned, together with my colleague, Nina Shea, a member of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, we've just published a book of the title, Silenced: How Apostasy and Blasphemy Codes Are Choking Freedom Worldwide. Not just in the Muslim world, but here. And there are copies for sale, and I will gladly sign them. I'll sign them twice if you want. So, 20 years ago, for most of us, at least most of us living outside the Muslim world, the idea of being accused of blasphemy and finding that dangerous would be unusual. There were still blasphemy laws on the books, but nobody had used them for years. It was a thing of the past. That changed in 1989, when the late Ayatollah Khomeini, then Iran's supreme leader, declared that every Muslim in the world had a duty to kill British-based writer Salman Rushdie on the grounds that his novel, The Satanic Verses, was blasphemous. Khomeini's edict triggered a wave of violence. Rushdie has survived, but only at the cost of living a hidden life.
Juliana Taimoorazy. وعلى برس خزبة أطرايب تيفل HBTV أها زول خزبة مطايلة قاتوخون من ماونت بروسبكت من Faith Under Fire Conference قد إلى خرابان قطع conference قل شوبة جوم ديت من prospect أميلة خا أودا مجد خاقاشة إلى رابا هيرانوية قملة ديان Father Thomas Loya أون ديل من Byzantine Catholic Church Annunciation of Mother of God جو Homer Glen كشغانا ميقرأ إن أها بارسو بالاوي و سيت ديان Iraqi Christian Relief Council وهياريات له مطيبة قاتن وإحنا له وخوا كيري اللخا وديو يوما وديو conference شغلة شو بيجي من prospect اتن three Congress members of the House قتينا اللخا Congressman Roscom, Congressman Walsh قد بخلت على بدودخ امسيلان خط بخت بدودخ أمه إن عادية دانا بطيت لقد من Father Thomas Loya هم زمخ بازد قتلت ملتن جو أترد أبهاتن. Father Tom, I know you. I've known you for a few years. It's such an honor to finally bring your presence to the Assyrian audience. You've been so good to our community, and it is time for our Assyrian community to know you. Please take your time and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Father Thomas Loya. I'm a Byzantine Catholic priest, a pastor of Annunciation Byzantine Catholic Church in Homer Glen, Illinois. I'm the host of the radio program Light of the East. I have some other radio programs as well, but for our purposes and the way I met Juliana was through our program Light of the East, which is a program that highlights the Eastern churches, their faiths, but also their cultures and their demographic and sociological political situations. So it's a program that brings to light all their riches and their situations.
I know you have been very much involved with our cause, the plight of the Assyrian Christians. And when I say Assyrians, I mean Chaldeans and Syriacs as well. What moved you to hear our calls and our cries?
Well, one of the things is, first of all, because I am a Christian. These are fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. Secondly, I'm an American, and America was very involved in the areas of the Middle East, especially in Iraq. So we have a responsibility because we were there, and we either helped or did not help the situation. But we have a certain responsibility, a certain bond there for these people, especially Christians. And also, my own background. As a Byzantine Catholic, my heritage comes from Central Europe, which also itself has known great persecution under communism. So I have a number of reasons why my heart sort of it feels a kind of affinity to this whole topic.
How do you see the conference today with all the speakers' testimonies and also activists that are here presenting, although they're not Assyrian or there are a lot of it's important for you to know قد اتفاق بتاعي هم زمان لخا أنا هم زمني من قبل أتوراي وإتن أمريكاي قد هم زومنا بود خاطرة أحوالات الديان. So what are your thoughts? How do you see this conference develop or coming together? And what can you tell us about the testimonies you've heard and the reactions that you've seen from the audience?
Well, the conference, first of all, it's a privilege for me to be here, and I think the conference is a very courageous one. It's one that's very, very insightful. It's been very moving, and I just wish it was being broadcast right now on CNN and Fox News and everywhere else, because this is precisely the kind of information and testimony that our country needs, the world needs, Christians and non-Christians alike need, and I think it's very motivational. I think that the people who are here are going to make a difference, and that's why I'm here, and that's what I'd like to see.
How do you think we can make a difference here in the United States by raising awareness of the Americans? What else can we do to make them understand that we, as the indigenous people of Iraq, specifically in our case, we have come under attack for hundreds of years, rather. But what can we do as Americans here in this country to help them understand the essence of what's happening?
Juliana, I think it's almost like a fork with many prongs. So you just keep poking around at every avenue you can through media, through articles, newspaper awareness, conferences like these. Most importantly, though, as one of the speakers even said, and it really comes down really to faith, we have to have faith to be courageous, to tell the truth, to call out where there is, to call out those who are perpetrators of persecution, and not to be afraid, not to buckle under the tyranny of political correctness and of fear, but to actually call out. Fear is useless, as our Lord said. And the other side uses fear as intimidation. You have to kind of challenge that. You have to kind of call that out, and it will eventually hide. It will shrink back, but it will do so in the face of courage, and courage is fueled most importantly by faith in God, just doing the right thing.
Exactly, and this important conference is doing just that. It's shedding light on what is happening to its essence. And there are different, it's very ecumenical. There you will find evangelical Protestants here, you will find Coptic Christians, you will find Orthodox and Catholics alike. And it's truly is very refreshing to see all Christians coming together, because when a killer comes, an Islamic radical comes and kills somebody, they don't ask if you're a Catholic, if you're a Protestant, they just kill in the name of their religion. This is not an attack on all Muslims, obviously. There are very moderate Muslims who are good people, but unfortunately they don't speak up. How do you think we can reach out to them?
I think the best way is by Christian witness. You know, it has to be a conversion of hearts. We cannot change this or win this by force. We don't use intimidation. We use the power of just pure, authentic humanness. Of being forthright, being courageous, showing strength and fortitude. Those kind of virtues, showing that we really believe who we are and we're willing to live that way. We're not intimidated, but we're here to love. To bring a better way. To stand for and live for and to draw others to truth.
Gishkana migrcha yachita bedarcha mochon min dita surte in a shepherded Mount Prospect, qadila gu suburb at Chicago. It gicha conference la audio shqilta shopa lacha Faith Under Fire qad Center for Security Policy organized bitolacha slitalam in Washington D.C. but ahwalat dian aturai gu atrid avahatan ubze but ahwalat qubtai gu Misri in Egypt. Amile Father Keith Roderick. خا آوودا قد يبليخ لقشية Washington D.C. قبض أهوالات الديان وعادية بخدة للخا إذا خامن هم زمان الجدها conference. Father Keith, it is an honor to be here and share the panel with you. Please give a brief description about your background, your activism background with the Assyrian nation.
I've been active in the issues for almost 30 years now. And in the late 1980s, we became aware of the need to do campaigns on behalf of religious prisoners of conscience in Egypt. And so we did. It was successful, and it expanded. We realized that we met with the Secretariat for Human Rights Council in New York at the UN, that we really were not even on their radar screen at all. And so we decided to put together a coalition of ethnic and religious minorities in order to try to combine resources and efforts to assist them, and that's what we did. We had our first meeting on Capitol Hill, and the Assyrians were very much a part of the very beginning time of that coalition. And of course, this was before the fall of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, and the aftermath of its consequences. We, tried to assist to bring attention to Iraqi Christians and the Assyrian community as much as we were able to on Capitol Hill and within our spheres of influence that we have.
So speaking of Capitol Hill, we've had several hearings. However, very little has been done. Why is that?
Well, I think that there is not a sense of a political need and urgency.
Is that because we don't control oil? Is that because we don't drive enough votes? What is the reason behind that?
I think part of it is that you haven't mobilized the grassroots to put the political pressure on a broad enough base of the political culture in Washington to say this is the most important issue that you need to be attentive to.
What are your thoughts on grassroots movement that needs to begin bottom up with the American people?
Well, I think for one thing, there needs to be feet on the ground and voices in the air, and they need to be out in mass, going through the halls of Congress and knocking on doors. And what it takes is for communities here in Chicago, get and reserve several buses, take them for a Capitol Hill day and set them loose on Capitol Hill and start knocking on doors and saying very specifically what you want. I mean, if it's very broad and nebulous in terms of your point of reference, it's not going to accomplish anything. But you have one particular bill or one particular piece of legislation that you can raise and say, this is an issue that we're all concerned with in our particular area and throughout the United States. I think that's very powerful. And there may be very few House offices, but if you're localized in Chicago, but I think that's important. I think gaining alliances with the local congressmen where the community is centered is absolutely essential. That's the base of the political power for the future.
I echo that sentiment, and as we know, Congressman Roscom and Congressman Walsh will be here today, this afternoon, and we have brought in students with different cases of hardship that they've gone through. These are 16, 17-year-old Christian refugees that have come from Iraq, and we do hope that they will be able to voice their concerns to the members of the House that will be present. How do you see the unfolding of this conference?
Well, I think there has to be some kind of action. Communal. I'd like to see, a statement of what we're going to do after we come out of the conference. I think it'll be very helpful. But even if it doesn't today, it has to occur in order to raise within the popular culture that there is a movement in support of the Near Eastern Christians and that they're not abandoned by the West, either from the political institutions or the religious institutions. And I think if we are on the road to making that happen, that's an important accomplishment.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you have done, not only for our community, but all the persecuted members of our church. We're all members of one body of Christ. Thank you. Thank you.
Garden of Eden Restaurant, your favorite place for a Middle Eastern cuisine, dine in or carry out, and for any occasion. Garden of Eden offers you fine Middle Eastern cuisine from all over the Middle East. Garden of Eden will also cater to any of your events. It is also BYOB, and we are open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Garden of Eden is located at 7156 North California on the corner of California and Toohey. For any occasion, visit us today at Garden of Eden, 773-274-1006. Garden of Eden Restaurant, and remember, BYOB.
We all have that one person we call, no matter what the situation or event. Who do you call when you've had a stressful day at work? When you get the news that you're having your first child, or that you landed your dream job? Now, what if you or a loved one have been injured and need advice? Who do you call? Think about it.
أمهر الأطباء تجدونه في مركز الشاهر الطبي. الدكتور أحمد الشاهر أخصائي بالأمراض الباطنية الجلدية المزمنة القلبية داء السكري ارتفاع ضغط الدم. وتجدون في مركز الشاهر الطبي أخصائية الأمراض النسائية الدكتور مأسل الشاهر التي تهتم بالحوامل وصحة المرأة وحديثي الولادة وعلاج سرطان عنق الرحم وسرطان الثدي بالإضافة إلى الفحوصات الدورية. ويتوفر مختبر كامل للفحوصات الطبية وجهاز السونر وتخطيط القلب وجهاز فحص القلب بالصدى. نفتح 6 أيام بالأسبوع من الساعة 9 صباحا وحتى 5 مساء، ما عدا يوم السبت من الساعة 10 صباحا وحتى 2 ظهرا. ونقبل كافة أنواع التأمين ميديكير. لمزيد من المعلومات اتصال على 773-754-0088.
Arbella Restaurant Reunion. Let's meet to remember the good old days with guest stars Sargon Yohanna and Issam Behnam. For customers and employees, taking place on March 17th at Crystal Palace Banquets. Arbella Restaurant Reunion إلى خضانة قا تخرنيا قا Arbella Restaurant. تمون ومورخني خضانة مهنيانتا من زمارن مخبة Sargon Yohanna وإسام بهنام. هر هذا غزة إلى $5 قا food وليكر وبشقالة لشوبة Crystal Palace Banquets March 17th. قا information قريمون تلفون 8 شوا 5 شوا 4 Arbella Restaurant Reunion. Let's meet to remember the good old days.
Mid-America Furniture 3110 West Peterson شيكاغو أحد شت لموديل بريشت Furniture أخو تاخد خالط ماخو أرخي من أمريكا ويوروب هل هذا غزي بالطيمة مرضيانة و 0% finance. Mid-America Furniture تلو mattresses أخ Sealy Posturepedic وهل هذا غزي تلو brand name furniture أخ Berkline, Ico, Stanley, Pulaski و Ashley تيخنا شوا يومانا جشابتا بس فوقهم بت Mid-America Furniture 3110 West Peterson شيكاغو ينقرمون قشوا طلا شوا إشتا خاطري خاصي بر إشتا. Mid-America Furniture for all your furniture needs.
Azul Restaurant and Lounge, 2639 West Peterson, Chicago, Illinois. خد برانوتا خطة جان يونن بشترت تخته من طلاشي بهالخوشيبة من صاد 5 برمشة هالتري قدمتها اتلو خليات مدن خاية وامريكان كوزين وتشتروتو شبتها اتلو انترتينمنت تشاركي زمارة مدن خاية وآطوراية أخجاني بندليرو وبالي دانسر هذا غزي أزول دوقة أمو جيجاناته قد شلتها هارد خدوياته هون قيمون اديوقة أزول Restaurant and Lounge شو طلع اتشو اشتخات 8 خاصي بر 8 أزول.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Walsh and Congressman Roscom. I would like to thank Mr. Frank Gaffney, Mr. Eric Vogue, and Ms. Juliana Taimoorazy for inviting me to this important conference, Faith Under Fire, and for the opportunity to deliver my speech to you. My name is Isabel Ishtar. I am an Assyrian that was very fortunate to be born in the best country in the world, the United States of America, and to be able to live and enjoy great freedom which has been given to us by our founding fathers, and to practice my rights and speak without fear about any issues or concern that I might have. Yet I can't overlook the fact that my young Assyrian brothers and sisters that were born in the land of Assyria, Iraq today, under the threat of terrorism and being deprived of their rights as human to practice even the simplest things that life has to offer, such as going to school without fear of being killed, having a healthy living environment, or simply rather staying alive. They are being slaughtered, raped, killed, forced out of their homes, and bombed while praying in churches on a normal Sunday morning. On December of 2010, the United Nations passed the Declaration of Rights of the Indigenous People. It was signed by the United States and many countries, including Iraq. We as Assyrians are the direct heirs of the great Assyrian Empire, therefore the indigenous people of Iraq. However, we are yet to see the government of Iraq implement this on our ancestral homeland. How can I enjoy my life here, having the best of everything, while my own people are being wiped out in Iraq or in the Middle East in general? My nation, Assyria, is on the verge of being extinct because they are trying to defend their human rights as Christians and to be able to practice their religion in peace. Ever since I was a little girl, I always had this great satisfaction whenever I offered my help to my disabled classmates. My brother and I always donate some of our own money to many different charities. I guess growing up in a family that has always emphasized the importance of helping in every way we could, whether it being financially or providing the less fortunate with shelter and warm food to eat, or whatever. Somehow I adapted that habit, and nothing makes me feel more complete than helping others. At my age, being a 13-year-old teenager, I could have been thinking of using my talent as a singer in a fun way that appeals more to today's younger generation. Now, I'm not saying that I will not be producing fun songs for people to dance or enjoy listening to, but I made a decision that I would like to make a difference for my young generation and to be their voice, since theirs has been silenced. And to deliver my message to the great nations, especially to my country, the great United States of America. To bring awareness to my people's terrible situation. They need your help desperately. Therefore, I wanted to start off my career by dedicating my very first original song to my brothers and sisters of Nineveh, to start a movement and to bring attention to their desperate needs. Thanks to many great individuals that I'm blessed to have in my life, such as my production team, Ms. Juliana, Taimoorazy, Mr. Eric Vogue, and my message was delivered a lot faster than I had expected. God works in mysterious ways. That's why I trust his plan and what he has in store for my people. Today, I humbly stand before you, honorable men and women of power, and plead that you hear out our voice and to make a difference, because I know you can. Help my Assyrian people. Give them a chance to simply live their lives by providing them a safe haven. Without a safe zone, the future of my Assyria will be diminished. The children are our future. Please, please give them a chance to survive. We have survived for 7,000 years. We are known as the cradle of civilization, and we want to remain till the end. As humans, we too have rights. God bless Assyria and God bless America. Love and peace. Thank you. Thank you.
گشقان خبیبه همون آها خورزد گشق لخون پرج لخون خا خورزویل مردیوتران آقا کلون تاخون این بایتون هایریتون قا حالات ملتان اتن پرسوب پریشه قد اخنن کم ساخیو کانتاکت متخطو خون منه قا جو واشنطن دي سي جو إلينوي ودو كان بريش مادي منقديان كم سيتون كتفيتون قدها خرزة إيميل ين كم سيتون مخبريتون منيانة تلفون نمبر بغزايتون على الشكل إيميل أدرسن بغزايتون على الشكل بس ما لخم مادي مولن بايتون هايريتون قا أو دعتورايت بالخانة جدها خقلة بخاي قرارة بجورب هم سمخ مناخون وبشمخلة تخمنياتوخون هل تبغى بشاود بيتهاي لأموخون أنا بكل قارقاتوخون قملتي آتوريتا بريشايد شيكاغو إيفان جوليانا تيمورازي وعائلة برس خزوت آتورايب تيفل HP TV خيوم تا آتوريتا وبوشم بشلامة